Okay, welcome back. Cheers. My super chunk hyper enough mug. Okay, today's episode is only about one band, Against Me. I'm going to read a bit off their Wikipedia, well not there, but off Wikipedia about them. The discography of Gainesville, Florida-based punk rock band Against Me consists of 7 studio albums, 4 EPs, 2 live albums, 2 DVDs, 15 singles, 5 demos, and 16 music videos. Wow. Against Me was formed in '97 as a solo act by singer-guitarist Laura Jane Grace, credited as Tom Gable until 2012. Occasionally performing with backing musicians. After releasing several demos and EPs, the band released their debut studio album, Against Me is Reinventing Axl Rose, through No Idea Records. So that would be this album. This is their first record. I ended up grabbing this cool orange neon splatter, orange black splatter copy of it, and I already had the picture disc. There have been so many different pressings of this first record. It's like ridiculous how many different things No Idea has done with this record. This one's actually on Fat. You can see the Fat Records, one of my favorite labels of all time for sure, as far as consistency and the percentage of the roster that I actually love and listen to. Fat Records, one of my favorites for sure. So that was their first album, and then they had these old singles too. They didn't put years on this stuff. I hate that. Okay, so this was 2000. So this was like even before that first album, like Reinventing Axl Rose. And then I think this one is acoustic or something. I can't remember. But these are very old, some of the first stuff. The Disco Before the Breakdown too. Really old one. I got a couple of singles here. Singles, somebody has asked me to kind of break down what's what as far as different things. A single would be something like this, which I've got the 7 too, I believe. Yeah, see here, this is a single. You can only fit so many songs on it. This has 3, probably 1 on one side and 2 on the other. And then they did a CD variant of it as well. So that's a single. An EP means, I think that means single play, is where the S comes in. An EP means extended play, so it can be like a maxi single they used to do back in the day. I should have got some cassettes to show you. Nirvana Lithium, I've got still the original EP, which it has like 4 or 5 songs on it, I think. So that's a bit more than just a single. And then an LP, long play, is your typical album size, which a 12-inch. So a lot of times EPs will go onto a 10-inch vinyl really well. Here's a solo from Laura Jane Grace, the singer. And it actually has quite a few songs on it. It's got 7 songs on it, 3 on one side, 4 on the other. So not quite a full-length album and not a single either. That's an EP. And as far as collectability and stuff like that, there's 2 variants of most albums that exist. There's a test pressing if it's on vinyl. They run the 1 to 20, sometimes more, test pressings until they get what they're going for. And those test pressings will be the rarest version of any album. I mean, obviously, unless they do something crazy, like there's only one copy of the album or something like that, which has been done before. So that stuff, and then if it's an actual signed artist on a label, a lot of times they'll do promo copies of the album to give to record stores, in-play copies, sometimes known as. I don't think I have any promo against me, but because they're local, so it's like it works a bit differently on a smaller label. Whereas when you get a bigger band, actually, you know what? I think I do. Yeah, look at this. This is probably my favorite Against Me album, New Wave. But back in the day, they were on Sire, which I believe is like a subsidiary of Geffen, pretty big record label. There's a lot of huge artists on Sire Records. But this was produced by Butch Vig, like, that's big money. So this was a real album on a real label and everything. And back in the day, they always did a gold stamp promotional only. So that's something to look for. Usually on a promo, the barcode will be either sharpied or sawed or drilled, hole punched. I've seen all kinds of stuff for promos. But yeah, I forgot about that. This is a really excellent example of a promo CD. So again, this and the test pressing of the record would be like some of the more rare. The test pressing definitely the rarest, and then a lot, you know, who knows, sometimes they might have done a few thousand promo copies to send to all the record stores all across the country, the world sometimes, you know. So promos sometimes aren't that rare, but still it's more collectible to me, to someone like me, to have the promo copy of the album as opposed to just the normo version that you could buy on the shelf. Who wants that? It's the same exact thing except for the stamp, or sometimes it's got a plain case that it comes in. Anyway, that explains that. Raphael, there you go. So after that, I think we got Crime on 7" as well. That's this one here. Boop. We got the acoustic EP. We got, let me see here. Trying to put them to you in order. Let me get a few singles out of the way. I got the Don't Lose Touch, Mouse on Mars remix, 12". I got From Her Lips to God's Ears, Energizatron remix by Ad Rock of Beastie Boys on this one. Black and Black on those two. Alright, so then their second album, As the Eternal Cowboy, 2003, was a marked change from the first album. The first album is very screamy. It's very raw and in your face. I mean, most of their stuff is, but if you listen to the first album and then listen to any other album, you'll see exactly what I mean, because the first one is just like throat through a meat grinder. What emo really sounds like, kind of, in a good way, I mean that. But this was quite polished. They got on Fat for this second album, which was not a major label by a long shot, but in the underground world, it doesn't get much bigger than Fat Records. If your band's on Fat Records, you're doing pretty well in as far as street cred goes. So they did an anniversary edition of this, and I couldn't resist it because it's just amazing. Pink and black. How cool is that? And my listening copy is just black, which supposedly is the the best medium because it's the hardest, so it has the best sound quality because of that factor. So their third album, Searching for a Former Clarity, again on Fat Records, and I got this one. They put it Park Ave CDs in Orlando. used to put up big lists of what their used records were and stuff, and I was scouting that stuff all the time. And I saw this record come on there and called them up real quick, paid for it with a credit card over the phone, and went and picked it up when I could. But this is the first pressing of Searching for a Former Clarity, and it's one black record and one white record. Really cool. I'm not sure the edition, but I paid $20 for it, A- shape, and I couldn't be happier with that purchase, because that's pretty awesome. All right, up next comes one of my favorites. I got to show you this one. New Wave on bright yellow vinyl. Really amazing album. Really amazing pressing. This one, to me, they really came into their own. They found their band dynamic, as opposed to just kind of having musicians honing their skills next to each other for a few albums. This just, there's something just coherent about this record that wasn't quite there on the two that were on Fat before it. They signed to a major for this one. Again, I just said Sire Records, Geffen. And so that one, and then they started their own record label around that time, I believe, as well, called Total Treble, and all future records were on Total Treble. So White Crosses is another just banger. This is probably their best record. Looking back, listening to everything. I mean, their last album is over 10 years old now, or right around 10 years old. So it's really kind of a hindsight thing. And to me, this record, White Crosses, is just, I mean, there's no filler on this. Every single song on this is a banger. An anthem, even, to some extent. I mean, the Bob Dylan one's kind of weak compared to all the others, but it's still just such a great, unique song that it belongs, and it's perfect. I really love this album. Yeah. I was a teenage anarchist. Because of the shame, I lose my voice all the time trying to play that and sing it on piano in there. Ache With Me, Spanish Moss. I play half this album when I get a chance on piano. So after Against Me's huge success and signing to the majors and everything, they were such a huge buzz band and all this. So apparently Fat Mike, who owns Fat Records, had done demos with them, raw demos, and told them that they needed to go back and actually record them in the studio this time and polish them all up and everything. And he said, like, in hindsight, the demos were where I should have left it. And I mean, who knows what would have changed, but he eventually ended up putting out the raw demo versions of their first two Fat Records albums, the original Cowboy and Searching for a Former Clarity is now called Total Clarity, and this is the original Cowboy. So these are just some raw demo versions of the albums, and they're pretty great. So they did a triple live, Against Me, 23 live sex acts. I picked that up. It's on Aqua vinyl triple album. Next album was Transgender Dysphoria Blues. So 2012, I think between New Wave and White Crosses, Tom Gable transitioned to Laura Jane Grace. So the Tom Gable solo album is the Dead Name now. Moving forward, we're Laura Jane Grace. And okay, so that was White Crosses. I'm yeah, the White Crosses was the last studio album, and then that was the first after the transition, and then this one was just kind of really raw and pretty much an evolution of what they had accomplished with their last two albums, really, because there's new sounds and new like kind of ways that the machine breathes or something. I don't really know how to explain it. You'll have to listen for yourself and check it out. But there's a lot of really raw songs on this album that I love. Tony and I got to see Laura Jane Grace at the Social a few years back, and the song Two Coffins, the acoustic song Two Coffins, she played, and it made me cry. It got me in the feels. It really did, in the best way. I mean, it was amazing. I love that song, and I loved that night. But yeah, there's so many great songs on this record too. It's total banger after banger. That one's Black, and then they ended up doing one for a limited edition for breast cancer awareness. A bunch of bands put out albums on pink vinyl, so I grabbed 2 copies of this one just because it was for such a good cause. I'm putting away one sealed, and then I've got my pink copy here for breast cancer awareness of transgender dysphoria blues. Amazing album. And the last but not least, their last album came out 2016, I think it was, and it is called Shapeshift With Me. This one I've got is on clear, double clear vinyl. But again, another banger full of anthems. They had learned already for how to produce and record and everything, so the sound is there, and so are the emotions. There's a lot of really heartfelt songs on this one. Not always coming from a happy place, but sometimes that's where, most of the time, that's where the good stuff comes from. Anyway, I got quite a bit more stuff here I want to show you real quick while I ramble on. And we're going to have dinner. Reinventing Axl Rose, album number 1. As the Eternal Cowboy, album number 2. Searching for a Former Clarity, album number 3. Then they did a live one called Americans Abroad. This one's really great too. I love this recording. And then came New Wave, which I've got the promo copy I showed you. I found an import, or not an import. I'm not sure. Maybe this is the import, actually. Yeah, manufactured in France. Fargo. Yeah, this is the import, but it's got bonus tracks, which are about to be released on Record Store Day, coming up in April. I'm going to go in and on Record Store Day soon, and then probably the next video or the one after that, I'll talk about Record Store Day and catch you up on that if you're not familiar. But all this stuff that used to be only available on the expensive import copy, really rare, is coming out on vinyl reissued, so I hope to snag that for Record Store Day. And then I found this copy when I was out in LA with Adam in 2016, my one and only trip to Amoeba. I left all the price tags on all the stuff that I bought from there, so I'll remember where it came from. But yeah, this is one of my favorite things about music, or how to check out bands, is getting an album that come with a DVD and watching the DVD first. Most of the time that's where I'm right to. But yeah, again, this is an epic performance, and I'm not sure if they're saying that this is one of their DVDs and this is their other, We're Never Going Home. This is an old one they dropped sometime in the middle of it all on Fat Records. It's super old now, but I just love seeing a band, especially like even for the first time hearing about them or whatever. I like to see like a live video, like Audio Tree or whatever it's called on YouTube, even something like that, or KXPR, I think it is, does a lot of video from Seattle. really great to see a band in a studio environment like that playing live and get a feel for their vibe and how well they actually play compared to, you know, studio trickery sometimes. That's why I really like to see a band. White Cross's regular, and then White Cross's deluxe, which has like another album of the demos, and then another CD copies of the demo albums on Fat Records, CD copy of Shapeshift with Me, and I need to still get a CD copy of Transgender Dysphoria Blues. It's never at the record store, so I'm probably gonna have to get on TotalTreble.com and try to check it out. Okay, I got a bunch of 7-inches. I'm gonna show you real quick. I got this guy, just on black. Great song. I got this one on purple. The color's probably not the best over here in the corner. This is a record store day one for I Was a Teenage Anarchist acoustic version and album version. A-side, B-side. Another, I think this was another record store day one. I'm not sure. It's very nondescript. There's no label or anything, but this is High Pressure Low acoustic and Strip Mall Parking Lots acoustic. I think that was another record store day one. This is the single for True Trans Soul Rebel with F My Life 666 as the B-side. Russian Spies, I'm pretty sure those were all black. Russian Spies on blue with Occult Enemies as a B-side. The Unconditional Love, 500 Years, picture disc 7-inch. This is Stabitha Christie and First High of the Morning picture disc. This one is number 321 of 4,000 worldwide. And then this one was, I think, one of the last things that actually came out from the Against Me camp in I can't remember. This was a record store day one too, but this has got Two Coffins on it. I love that song. But yeah, I think this was more of a stripped down performance with just Adam, the drummer, and Laura Jane Grace with the guitar and vocals. All right, so I got solo debut of Laura Jane Grace on C-Mini vinyl, for lack of a better term, on CD. I'm not even sure. I believe this is album number 2, Stay Alive. This is an awesome pressing, if I recall. Oh yeah, look at that. How cool is that? It's like A-side, B-side, so this side's mainly blue and this side's mainly purple. Really cool. Another one, Hole in My Head. This one is the one we saw her tour for, I believe. A little EP of Laura Jane Grace and the Mississippi Medicals. Like a purple and white and blue kind of splatter. Lots of colors going on in there. That's an awesome pressing. And then this one just came out recently with a bunch of drama surrounding it. I don't even want to go into all that, but this again on a cool pink record. And yeah, this one just came out July last year, so it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that old, considering the last Against Me album is now 10 years old. That's so crazy. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys this time. It's time for the grown-up version of this punk to go inside and eat his dinner. We're gonna have fish and chips. Oi, oi. All right, sorry I rambled on so long, but obviously I love Against Me. I hope you guys will give them a shot and check them out, and I hope that you'll hear what I hear in them, which is hope and love and passion and raw musicianship and catchy songwriting. Doesn't get much better. All right, until next time. See ya.